Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heart Conversation. And here with me, I have Gladys Nyaboro. She is a great friend of mine. Met her in ONPASSIVE. However, we have many conversations that very connected. So I thought I invited her here and would like to have a conversation with her. Hello, Gladys. Good to see you. You look beautiful. You always look beautiful and well put together every time you come on to a meeting. So good to see you.
Hello, my sister Julie. Thank you so much. You look beautiful equally, and thank you so much for inviting me today. This is a privilege to be here with you. I thank you, and yes, we are good friends. We do have some conversations and inspiring, encouraging one another, and what a great place to be. We are here because of ONPASSIVE, and I thank God for this opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to be here. So, Gladys, I've met you in one of the meeting in the past years. And the very first day, I'm very sure that you've been in many webinars, but one of the meeting that we were in, I believe it's either the corporate one or the Julie and Milo show that you were there. And you came in and you introduced yourself, you introduced your story. It was very inspiration listening to you and where you came from. And I loved you ever since. I love knowing you, love getting to know you more. But a lot of people that are watching this heart-to-heart conversation has not heard about you. You know, here, the audience, I'm very sure they've heard you in many other places, but not here in this particular platform. So if you don't mind, please tell your story. I believe everyone has a story, and your story particularly was very inspiring.
Thank you so much, Julie. I remember I think the first time I shared my story, we were at the PNG meeting. And the PNG looks almost like a corporate, because I think many leaders love PNG, and they came to that meeting. That was the first time I really opened up to share my story, because I kind of felt safe sharing it on a PNG platform more. I don't know why, but when I was invited to speak, that was the first time I really opened up. And I think I can relate a lot with the PNG. I'm originally from Kenya, East Africa, and growing up in a small, community where we did not have so much, but we had so much love. That's what I remember. We had so much love. We were raised with a little, but it was plenty because we shared. So as a young girl from a small community, am I hearing an echo, or it's only me?
There's no on my end.
Okay, let me be sure my phone is off. Yeah. So growing up, I was exposed to love within the community, and I went to school. My parents took me to school. I thank my parents for that, and I really wish my dad could be alive to see me now, because so many things he wished me for, they have come to pass. So Daddy, wherever you are, I thank you. But I thank God that my mother is still alive, and she has witnessed many of the blessings they have prayed over me. So when I remember, I'm going to fast track to where I saw the heart, a human heart, a loving heart, helping someone, is after I did my 8th grade, and my parents were not able to take me to high school. They showed me a lot of love. They encouraged me. I was kind of discouraged, but I remember my parents sitting me down and telling me not to give up. They told me to go back again and repeat 8th grade with the hope that they'll be able to have money to take me to high school. I went and repeated, and still there was no money to take me to high school. So one Sunday I was sitting in church, And just the church was quiet. After that first session, we went to the Catholic church. That's where I used to go. And when people sit down now to start the readings, so the moment we sat down, our priest called me and said, my daughter, don't worry about tuition. I have a plan and your tuition is going to be paid for. He mentioned the name of the school, which was the best school in our district, which is now a county. And there were few really good schools. This was a boarding school that was being run by nuns from England. So yes, so he said my tuition was going to be paid for. I didn't know who was going to pay for. I'm mentioning the school because I knew after the service. So he told me, come and do the reading here after church, come and see me. I will show you, I will tell you, introduce you to Sister Margaret, who was the headmistress of that school. She's from England. So after the service, I went and did the reading. After the service, I went and met them, and he introduced me to that nun. And the rest is history. Wow. When I went to that school, I was never sent out of school for tuition even a single day, until the day I wanted to really go home. When I saw many students were sent home for tuition, I said that I've lost my shoe, one of my shoes, so that I can go home. And do you know what the headmistress did? She took me to the city, which is nearby the school. She bought me a new pair of shoes and took me and fruits and took me right back to school. That's how much favor I got, and I thank God for that. So fast forward again, when I came to ONPASSIVE, something was similar to the life that I had been through before. That's why I'm very, very, very passionate about ONPASSIVE. I joined ONPASSIVE in 2018, and in 2018, July, it wasn't much happening other than a few meetings here and there, audio. Then 2019 came, then we started having these meetings. But when I heard Mr. Ash Mufareh speak in the first recording, it was an audio, something clicked. I said, this is different, because I had tried 2 businesses that never worked. So I gave it a chance, because now before registering, I had to call the CEO, the owner of the company. I wanted to talk to him because the other 2 businesses that failed, I'd never talked to the owner. So when after speaking to him, and he mentioned about the time freedom, and I had little kids, and I really needed that time. I needed that time. I'm trying to summarize the story. It's long, but I'm trying to, to summarize, to say the important things. We had the conversation. He was interested about culture, about understanding me, the difference between the US and Kenya, the difference between New Jersey, where I lived, and now where I live. And everything was just, he did not pitch to me the business. Until when we were almost done, is when I said, I called you because a friend of mine told me about a business that you are doing, and I wanted to find out more information. So when he told me all this time freedom, I found it something I was looking for. I wanted to join immediately. So finally I did join, and once I joined, as we started the meetings and I started talking more, then Oh Bless came in. He talked about Oh Bless, and I realized it's what I had been doing, but in a very, very small scale. I remember when I went to high school, when students used to graduate, like those who finished 12th grade, they don't need their uniforms. So I had friends, they used to give me their blouses, their skirts, because they're not going to need them. And when I went home, I remember sharing those blouses, with children who could wear them in the community, with my friends, even though they were not going to the same school, because we needed clothes, we needed more clothes. So we used to share those. I used to share them. And so Oh Bless really resonated with me so much. I've been here, and for those who are in diaspora from different parts of the world that, you know, there are more people who are less privileged and need help. They know that when you share anything small that you share, that you send. Like I was talking to, we were having Ivy last week, Sister Ivy,
Mhm.
on our show, and she shared how she ships things. Anybody who has done that or who has given something to somebody, and it doesn't have to be Africa or
Mhm.
less fortunate countries, even here in the US, you know the difference it makes. You know, we have the homeless people in the US. When you find them, someone hungry, you give them food, you know the difference it makes. So I really fell in love with ONPASSIVE when I found that finally this might be the way for me to be able to fulfill the desire of my heart, helping people. I could not look back. That's where I am constantly inspired. Tell me when you want me to be quiet, because I will continue talking forever.
No, it's let your heart flow. Let it flow. Yes.
So I found really this is home, finally. Really, that I can do this not only myself, but somebody cares to enable me to be able to do more, and not only enable me, but enable me with those who want to come together and work with me. Then as I continued in ONPASSIVE, listening to Mr. Ash Mufareh, the heart that he has, and during the launch of ONPASSIVE in Dubai, something again happened that solidified my heart. The song that was sung in Swahili to launch ONPASSIVE to the world, it was Our Father in Heaven. And I was like, that got me in tears.
Beautiful.
I almost could not believe it. And I'm glad I was not on a panel that day. That day I was full of tears of joy. And it's good that, you know, we had it, my husband projected it on the television. So I was watching and I said, surely God is in this. That's why anything that happens for me, I have no doubt. What I know is that anytime there is something that is going to shift things, that is going to change lives, that is going to bring meaning to people, there's resistance. There is going to be resistance. The difference is, what are we going to do, or what are you going to do during this resistance so that you can remain focused? They say be focused on the prize, you know, not focusing on the problem. So these things kept adding 1 + 2 together. And then I met, you know, leaders in ONPASSIVE like you. There's so many leaders in ONPASSIVE that I love and hold, you know, close to my heart. Brother Chris, Susie McRae, Michael Williams, Mahdi, all these great leaders, Charles Osong, you know, I really love them. And looking at them, I've been watching you people from a distance. I was never someone who was coming up, speaking in meetings. No. I came in early enough, and I'm sure if I was up front, I could be there. But I was nervous.
Yes.
I could only participate on the chat. Finally, something, you know, when you watch people inspire you long enough, you find yourself coming forward. So I resonated. And when Mr. Ash Mufareh said that only God can stop ONPASSIVE. So there are pieces and pieces, and God speaks to us in different ways. So, like when you are in this company, I'm sure people are inspired for different things. People are inspired by different personalities. So I really fell in love with it because I know that finally there is hope. That's why I'm determined. That's why I'm strong in, and that's why I will continue talking about ONPASSIVE and sharing the good, because I know that finally we're going to move around the world doing good, starting from our own houses.
Absolutely beautiful, sister. I love that you let your heart flow, and where you had that feelings, that love, is when you were very young. So your journey in ONPASSIVE is full of love. You've shared it. It's full of love, and so beautiful sharing. Thank you so much, Sister Gladys, to be able to share that with all of us. So that story that you told us when you were 8, that was happened in Kenya. When did you come to the United States?
I came to the US in 2001.
2001.
Yeah, end of 2001 into 2002.
And you came in with your whole entire family?
No, I came as a student to the US. I finished studying, and the school where I was studying for nursing. And thank God, the hospital, which was next door, where we were going to do our, hands-on experience, internship, they were happy with our work, and the school facilitated for us to get part of scholarship through a grant, and that hospital was affiliated, and that hospital received us with the 2 open arms, and they opened the doors for us, and they gave us a job, and they processed our immigration papers, and we became residents. And I thank that hospital so much, because they did it with a lot of love, without contract, which was surprising. They said, we will honor you to keep your work. As long as you work for us for 2 years, we will help you. And they helped us through legally, and everything worked out well, and we thank God for that.
That's absolutely beautiful. Wow. How is your journey to the United States like? I know you came in as a student visa, and then you built your time, and then you get work here, and now you're a mom. Tell us.
Yes, my journey as a student was not so easy, but I should say I count myself privileged in the sense that I had a family that was here before, so I had guidance. I remember one of my uncles immediately I landed, and a few days, actually, it wasn't even a week, because I landed the first of the year, even before January, before the jet lag ended. I was to school, and sorry to my uncle who had an accident the first day he took me to school, but it wasn't bad. It was kind of scratched. Yeah. But my uncle told me that, do you know what you want exactly to do? I said, yes, I want to do nursing. And he guided me right there. He took me to the student counselor, who told me exactly what I need, because if you don't get guidance for international students, many do waste time by doing all other prerequisites that are not necessary. So when I said it's nursing, he helped me to go to the student counselor to be guided to pick the right courses, and I started like that. So in that sense, and I wasn't living alone, so I had help. And special thanks also to my other uncle I stayed with, who was very kind to me. When you come from Africa, you don't know much about, bills. I wasn't paying bills from home. So I had not been exposed, and it was very nice. It was not, telling me. Now I understand. After a few years, I understood. He did most of the food shopping. He did most of the things, and when I graduated nursing, he told me that, let me know when you are settled enough, because he had his girlfriend who, used to come and stay with us a few days. He told me he was moving out with his girlfriend. I tell him when I am settled, so that they don't leave me suffering. But hey, after nursing school, my check was more than enough I was single by then. So I was like, I'm all set. Anytime you are ready to go, thank you so much for taking care of me. And then after that, I started dating, and then I had my firstborn baby after marriage, and it's been hectic. You are a mom. It's beautiful. Children are a blessing from God, but the time balancing work and being available for the kids, trusting the babysitters, I also again thank God for the best babysitter that, someone who was helping me with my children. I hate calling her babysitter. She is a sister. She took care of my kids as her own. So I must say God's hand has been in my life. When you see me passionate about God, having one person taking care of your children, and they are like almost 5 years apart, and the same person taking care of them until, only one person, it's a blessing. I didn't take that for granted. But if you don't have that, it's difficult to balance time and work. When children become sick, when children are needed to go somewhere, and you have to go to work. So it's been very challenging, I must say, when it comes to, because I see even now you have kids. How many meetings do you miss because you have to go to sports? Kids are participating in something, but it's beautiful. I must say it's beautiful.
I love the fact that you said that your entire life is blessed and taken care by God. I do feel the same. Difficult situations, you run to God. Difficult stuff that you had to deal with, as you run to God, and you let God lead. You literally lift it all up to Him. So I really wanted to ask you that your role as a woman in the United States, and I know you haven't, you grew up in Kenya, but you haven't had that role as a woman or a mom in Kenya. But I like you to, but I'm sure you've seen your mom, you have families over there. Being a woman role in a family, how is it different from Kenya and here in the United States?
Oh my goodness. My mom, the Iron Lady. Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so proud of my mom, and I'm so proud to the women I saw growing up in my community. The role of women back home is different. It's interrelated or interconnected, as you like using that word.
I love that.
Yes, but it's a bit different from home to here. I can begin from home. I think our parents went through so much to raise us. They did not have the benefits that we have or the conveniences. They went to the bushes, they looked for firewood to come and use in lighting fire to cook. They worked hard in the farm. I saw my mom working hard in the farm, waking up every morning, going to work. They walked bare feet, for the most part, they walked bare feet. They had no luxury of having, more than one pair of shoes, especially if you had children. And my mom was a stay-home mom technically, but she worked in the farm. So I'm going to use her as an example. She did so much. When there was no enough food, our mom made sure that the kids have eaten. Even the husband has eaten before they ate. I saw my mom doing that, and she was happy to do it for her family. It's not that she was denied food. And sometimes I remember we could try to give her our food to eat. She'll be like, you need to eat and fill your stomachs because you are going to school tomorrow. My dad, men kind of lead the decisions, making family decisions, because my mom is also guided by the teachings, from the church, that my dad is the head of the family. But he involved my mom. He made the main decisions, and then he brought it down, to my mom. And then they maybe shared ideas and agreed on some things. But there are some decisions that my dad made and they passed because he's the head of the family. But they were good, they were good decisions. When I compare my role here, my mom went to the maize mill or windmill to go, convert maize, have maize converted to flour to cook for us, to feed us. She went to the river to fetch water because we did not have running water in the house. When I compare my role here with hers, I think one advantage she had that I don't have is about raising kids. We were literally raised by the community. It wasn't like you belong to this family. And that's how we grew up. You know, you go, you are sent to the store, we call them shops back home. You go buy something. Somebody finds you standing with a little boy there, is a boyfriend. Before you reach home, the message has reached because you're being raised by the community. So we had respect for the community. A child belonged to the community. Here, it's you and you raising, babysitting your children, raising your children. If you take them to the babysitter, you pay.
Yeah.
There's no community raising here.
Right.
I have a microwave. I have running water. So many advantages. I have packaged flour. I don't have to go looking for firewood. So the roles are really different. But I have more voice here.
Right. Here.
Yeah. So it's really different to compare the two, interconnected in a way because the responsibilities are almost the same, but totally different.
Yes, in the time in back home in our country too, your kids almost raised by the entire community. It takes a village to raise.
Yes,
here,
yes.
Here, it's all you, and if you can't do that, social media raise your kids.
Yes.
And unfortunately, unfortunately, that is happened. So, I know you are a very busy mom. You have your job, you have your full-time job, you're raising your kids. How many children do you have?
I have 2.
You have 2. And then you also have a show that you're running also, and I love a lot of the videos that you're putting out there. You spend time, you build that content, and you talk your heart out in some of those videos. And you know, if you're listening to this, you know, in the description you can actually find Gladys you know, content YouTube there. And if you wanted to reach out to her, or even with the social media, you can follow Gladys as well. But I love the fact that we are on Passive together, and we stay close, we stay connected. What is it in ONPASSIVE? And I know you shared a bit, and you also mentioned that you've talked to Mr. Mufareh at the very beginning, listening to him, let his heart flow. He didn't really pitch the deal with you, or there's no deal at that time. It was just, you know, coming in and joining with me. Beside all of that, what is it in ONPASSIVE that pull you, that you say, I'm going to stay here? This is the best thing ever. What's one or two elements that pulled you to be here all the time?
Thank you for that question, Sister Julie. Again, as I said, ONPASSIVE is unique, to be honest. It's very, very unique. And a true heart to me, a sincere heart or genuine heart, is very dear to my heart. When I find out that someone has a good heart, it doesn't have to be perfect, but having a heart for people and truly showing, or it's readable, kind of readable, that this person has a true heart for the people. I found that there are values that I can relate with. That was big. Number one, there are values that I can relate with. Number two, the transparency of Mr. Mufareh. That is close to me, because I was always comparing ONPASSIVE with the other two that I'd tried, and I found transparency. If I can say the major two factors, is that the transparency and the heart, the true heart for the people, being available. Transparency in the sense that when something is wrong, he says. When something is right, he says, and not hiding. That those two are very close to me.
Absolutely. His integrity and his transparency are so important. I'm sitting here and thinking about what you said, is that at the very beginning, when he started this journey, this ONPASSIVE movement, he has his phone number out and he has conversations with people, and you are one of them that actually have conversations with him. No CEO does that, right? The CEO has CEO usually have their funny words, but minions, doing the work and doing the pitching and doing the mouthpiece for them. But our CEO at Mr. Ash Mufareh is the ones that goes out there and share his heart. And all he did was sharing how his vision, that's one thing, how he feels. And not only that, he inspired people to connect. And that is one thing that I find that is one of the biggest things in non-passive, because what are we doing here together? We're sitting here and let our heart flow and just share what comes to mind and comes to heart. And so when it talk about your heart and how you feel, what are your dreams? What is it that's something that you've wanting to do for a longest time, but you have to put it in the back burner? What is it that you wish to do?
I have so many things that I could wish to do. But one big thing that I really, really, really want to do is that I want to be able to do more. I want to be able to empower and inspire. That's all I desire. If I can inspire someone and inspire them to have some level of freedom, and I believe that through ONPASSIVE, I can be able to do this. We have seen how giving out, like micro lending, small monies to women, how it has helped them. I don't like to go to the details, but some of the things that we have done in a very small way, and these are not big monies, whether it's giving, those women who do like hawking of small things, vegetables, small businesses, whether it's selling second-hand clothes, giving them an income of 50,000 Kenyan shillings is not a lot. That's about $500 or $450 to one woman to start the business and then give it to another one. When they make the profit, it's not just a handout. And actually, that's a skill that I learned from. I was so used to handouts before. Like you send, oh, go this and buy this, go this and buy this. I did that and it did not help. But empowering women in the sense that they are empowered already. They know they want to do business. I'm talking now particularly in this group. And they knew they want to do business, but they had no capital. They had the plan of how to do business. And so through one person, we decided to try this out. So depending on the business and the budget that they had, that they wanted to do, we send out this money. We give to one woman if the budget requires $500, and they have the guidelines on how to spend that money as long as they get the profit, so that they can keep moving and they can give this money to another person, another woman. It was basically for women to also start, and then when that person comes to profit, gives it to the other person. It works. For those who do small things like vegetables, it wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't a lot, but you can give. It could be as little as $50, and you change someone's life. And you see how they are changing it. It's interesting. Quickly, when I realized, when people are given money with expectations, and you give them the requirements of what you want, people honor that money. But when you just send, oh, $50, oh, I have a problem, I cannot pay tuition for my daughter, I need 10,000 shillings, you just send it, you give them, they go spend, they will come again and ask. But when you give as loan and have them put the money into good practice, let them identify something. So there are so many things. That's what I would love to do. And it's going to happen through Missionaries for Africa, MFA, that we are, working. And thanks to Brother Michael Ako, who came up with that vision, we will be able to do more. Many people have been doing, many affiliates have been doing small things, but I believe that we will really do more as a big group. So that's all I want. Uplifting humanity. I want it to be my middle name.
Yes. I love it. I love the fact that you are not only, because we can give people money anytime. It's kind of like a handout. You teach them. I mean, you gave it to them and they solve that problem. It's kind of like a band-aid instead. But what you're doing is you have a solution where you are empowering people to do by teaching them how to fish. Once they know how to fish, they got to teach the next person. They got to teach everyone in their entire community. That's absolutely beautiful. And yes, I would love someday to have Michael coming onto here and talk about that as well. But when it all comes down to, sis, you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your dreams. Yes, I believe every single one of us have a heart to help other people. There are solutions, there are strategies that are being put together. There's conversation like this, you know, to people that listen to this conversation with you. What you just said, give them an idea to what to do in their own community as well. But in our conversation with our CEO, Mr. Ash Mufareh, he always wants us to take care of ourselves, take care of our family, get ourselves well in terms of financial freedom, a total freedom that we were talking about, and then we're doing it for others. So I'm coming back to you again and say, what is it that is your dream? You know, you don't have to say in specific, but what is it your dream that you specifically, I guess, give to you?
My gift to me is time freedom. Time freedom first. I want to be able to go somewhere and spend time with my family, spend time with my children, be sure that I've met, you know, they are young, they have dreams. They have presented some of the things they want to do, but you know, we cannot give them too much when we know that there are people, you know, who could really use that money even to put a meal on the table. We do give them, but even my 9-year-old can tell you, Mommy, then sometimes she even goes before me and says, you are wasting food, and there's, you know, their children starving somewhere in another part of the world. So I want to spend time with my children first and be sure that the passions that my kids have told me things they want to do, that I've put them, all of them in place for their passion, because it's building them, it's building their skills. That's the first thing that I want to do. And of course, taking care of myself and putting things in order. And my mom is aging. I have plans with my mom that I don't want to go in details, but it's something that is going to not only benefit her, but it's going to benefit the elderly and the seniors in my community. And when I shared that with my mom, she was so grateful. She says, that's the best gift that you can give me. So there's a gift, first of all, time with family, and then that gift for my mom will be my #1 priority, because we have already landmarked what we are going to do.
I know you are very involved in supporting the Kenyan community. How is everyone doing? How is the community excited and looking forward for ONPASSIVE to literally shake the entire world?
The Kenyan community is very, very interested, and it's interesting. There are meetings that are going on, in as much as they don't seem, like in the open here. And we have very good videos of meetings that are going on in the ground and sharing about the mission of ONPASSIVE, and people are excited. Of course, we have some, we cannot miss people who are discouraged. So we have to say that we have both parts, but the ones who are encouraged are more. And I can give an example. Somebody reached out, it's about maybe 2.5 weeks ago, and she said she wanted to drop out. She wanted to leave. So she asked me, how can I contact the company? So I sent her a message and told her, you can contact support. So after I tried to ask her, have you thought about this? She said yes. So I had full disclosure. I had to tell her to contact support. So because I care about the Kenyan community, I reached out to her after a week, and I asked, I don't need to say her or he, because he did not have a name. We did not say, from the name I could tell. So I reached out again and I asked, are you ready to, were you able to contact support? And do you know what she replied to me? She said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I changed my mind. Yeah, which means she saw the vision of ONPASSIVE after the 360 meeting that we had with Mr. Ash Mufareh. She changed her mind, and that's why I released the video. It's time, it's decision time, when you have to think over yourself. The decision you are making is going to impact you and your family and your community and your country. I believe we have a bigger mission in ONPASSIVE, and if we each sit down and think the mission that we have ahead of us is huge. It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. People attract to people that they, I guess, resonate with. And I believe that there's so many people, really, because the community of what we are doing here, it's all about relating to people, connecting one person to the other, connecting one situation to the other, also connecting one family's difficulties and challenges together. And that's why we are attracting so many people, because that's where the world is. People have challenge, people has difficulties in doing business, people relating to people situation and experience. And that's the reason why we're sitting here to have this conversation, because there are out there, a lot of people are relating to your story and my stories and a lot of people's story. Let's talk about a little bit about the technology of what we have been exposed to in the past years. For you has been 6 years, so 6 years. For many of us, we have been exposed to an incredible technology, the products that we have. What is it that you are looking forward to, in terms of like technology or the products itself?
Thank you for that question, Sister Julie. I am so excited about All Connect, because I know All Connect is going to be useful in schools. It takes me back to when we had COVID, 2020. I had a niece in school, in high school. The school is farther away from the city. And surprisingly, after COVID, when kids stayed home for long, teachers decided to start offering classes online. But because of lack of education in technology, my niece was living her life, and she wasn't the only one. She did not realize how important it was to even inform the parents so that they can figure out for her to get a good cell phone so that she can be able to access homework. Not many kids have luxury for computers. That's why when I see the All Connect is going to really change things because of cost. It's affordable, accessibility, especially the latest version that we had. It was easily accessible, and I was so looking forward. I still look forward because I know it can take large numbers. It's going to be helpful not only in schools, it's going to be helpful in churches, in ministries. We had some meetings with some pastors who were so excited. They had mobilized their churches, some of them in Kenya. There are so many people who are very grateful about ONPASSIVE in Kenya, who are patiently waiting. And I see it on the forums. When you can never miss one negative one, especially there's one specific who always posts negative message. When he posts and you see the response from the leaders, the ONPASSIVE leaders, in Kenya, and leaders, we try to empower the entire group chat. We say you are all leaders. If you have an answer, if someone asks a question, post the feedback here, so that if you post the wrong feedback, you'll be corrected right there. So we are looking forward, but I think All Connect is our number one, and we want to see it because we can use it for free. Once we are affiliates, it's free. We don't, in the sense that we don't have to pay a lot as outsiders. Whatever, if it's a monthly subscription, we will do it happily. We have used it, we know it. So that's number one for me.
Yes, me too. And there's so many other products and technologies will be introduced to us, in the times, I would say weeks or months ahead. So I'm looking forward to it. It has been a beautiful journey, Sister Gladys. We have been connecting. To be honest with you, in my life before ONPASSIVE, I've never met, or even I have met a Kenyan, but I don't get exposed to it. Why? Because we're all really in our own circle, in our own bubble. But outside of our bubble is so beautiful. And the opportunity for all of us to be able to sit here connecting with each other, and we are hand in hand to eradicate the poverty, and as you say, inspiring people and empowering people to teach them how to fish and teach others how to fish, instead of just giving away the money. Money doesn't fix the problem. The heart of humanity fixed the problem, right? You have the heart, you have the inspiration and the power to fix a lot. And that's why we get to hear a lot from our CEO, and we get to hear and see his heart and how he's doing. When you mentioned about the Burj Khalifa, the launch of the Burj Khalifa in Boston, we were there, all of us watching what ONPASSIVE does for the community there. It's heart pulling. It pulls your heart because you don't get exposed to those.
Yes.
I have gotten exposed to get to see a lot of things that happen in my community, in where I am, but we didn't know how hard it is for the people that live in other countries, how difficult it is. And if we all can get together hand in hand, using OBLAST as a tool to teach people how to fish, I believe we can change the poverty in the world and the corruption in the world. And is the power in what we have in ONPASSIVE, the people, the technology, and the heart. And so there's no place I'd rather be. I know you are the same.
It's the same. And we are not saying that money is bad. Money is a vehicle. But when you have the heart and you have the desire to do good, if you have money and there's integrity, you are unstoppable. When the vision is clear. And there's so many things happening in the world that, as you say, Sister Julie, there's a lot of corruption. I believe there's a lot of resources in the world, but the resources, especially in each country, is on the top 5 people, the ruling class. What happens to the regular person? What happens to the young children who have no access to good education? What happens to no accessible health care for women and children, or to people, prenatal care, child care? There are so many things. Having a child should not make you kind of disabled, that you cannot be able to go somewhere because you have to babysit. There could be programs that can help out in this, or subsidized. But they are not. I know in the US they have something, but not in many countries. People are having to delay childbirth. That shouldn't be. During your prime years, if you are supposed to have children, it should be. But because of the standard of life that we have, people are forced to have less children. Children should not be a burden. Children should be a blessing. So through all bless, and I'm so grateful. I'm patiently waiting, and I'm sure that it will help us to be able to mitigate some of these things, or to be able to create a dent. We are not going to solve everything in the world, every problem, but we will create a dent. We will do something.
Yes, I love that you're talking about children. I've heard in one of the podcasts or one of these things, it takes $28 for a start to save a baby's life. What they're doing is basically $28 to pay for an ultrasound to listen to the baby's heartbeat in the mom's womb. And very high percentage, a mom going through a hard time, or forced for them to terminate this pregnancy, but it takes $28, and that $28 can change the course of this baby's life. And so when I said money doesn't fix the problem, but I really wanted to say money does help fix the problem. But it doesn't fix the problem itself, because with money, and there's no heart to it, not to love of the money, but having that money and the heart to help fixing the problem, it can fix so much. It can change a human's life, which is, I'm so looking forward to be able to support that, whatever the desire. And to me, says, a lot of people have their project, and not a lot of people have plans of what to do. Personally, I just let the Spirit, we both believe in God, I just let God guide us, because it's very hard. We have what we love, we have what we resonate to, but do we have the knowledge and the power and the ability to do that? And so I just pray. It said, give me the signs, But hearing what I just told you, the podcast, $28 can save a baby's life.
Yeah, there are so many things. Imagine if we came together, as you said, we have created now a global audience. You have people who, when they hear Julie Nguyen, they know they're going to follow, because you have created a relationship. There is a trust between you and them. Imagine when you come together, how many ultrasounds that you can provide the machine that will be able to provide free, accessible ultrasounds to women, to our community. There's a place in Kenya which is very, very dry. And I really thank God always for one of the affiliates who is there. She's one of the unsung heroes. I know I've spoken about her for a long time. You're going to see her eventually. This lady, she comes from a place where children miss school because it's very hot and that there's no food for them to eat. And she's not a wealthy woman, but she has fed these children, like when it's very dry, and they miss school because of not having enough food to eat. I enjoy when I see the pictures, how she has like a long lines of kids. She's feeding them. She's not out there talking about them. These are the people that we want them to, to have them to come out and even, to speak, but they don't want to talk about what they do. But she is doing an amazing, amazing things. She holds meetings up to 1,000 children.
Wow.
Such a simple lady, human being who has the heart for children. Wow. And if one person can do that, can you imagine if we come together, even 10 people, and mobilize, to be able to increase these seminars where children come and they are taught, they are taught basic things about how to prevent the diseases. They are taught about, made aware of the evil things going on around the world that children are innocently preyed on and they don't know. So I think we can do much.
I believe so. The journey hasn't started it. It just tapped it in the beginning. We are going to make a difference in the world. Thank you so much, Sister Gladys. I'm so glad we have a chance to actually sit down and share our hearts. I appreciate you for this conversation.
Thank you so much, Sister Julie. I love you so much, and I thank God for giving us this opportunity. I believe that what we are doing now, when we are elderly, we're going to be sitting here and, listening, and we'll be doing good around the world by the help of God. And God bless ONPASSIVE. God bless our CEO, Mr. Mufareh. God bless you.
God bless you, and I appreciate you so much. Absolutely, we keep our ONPASSIVE family in our mind, in our prayers, and especially for our CEO, Mr. Ash Mufareh, as well. So thank you very much. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this conversation, and looking forward to the next one. We'll see you soon.